Hi, Michelle Morgan here with a trade review for a trade that I did today on the Great Britain Pound USD pair using the 15-minute chart. It was a sell that I got into. So going ahead, when I woke up this morning, I woke up at 4:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I woke up and I was here on this particular candlestick. And I noticed that an uptrend had been forming overnight. And I saw that a tweezer top had formed here as well just recently. So I knew that with this tweezer top forming from an upward momentum that had been happening, I was looking to get into a sell. And I knew that I was going to get into a sell when the candlestick broke this fib line at 0.0 of support. And then also before I get into my trades, I also take a look at the hourly chart as well so I can get a broader perspective of what is happening. So even when I look into the hourly chart, I noticed here where this candle, this wick is, it was a high. And I can see that this high is also a high that's happened within the last time this price action was this high was last week on July 26th, which was a Thursday. And so even from last week, there was downward momentum, went into consolidation, and then even this hourly chart shows an upward trend that happened. A tweezer top forming, and looking here, I got in at the beginning of this candlestick where it was going to form a downtrend. So going back to the 15-minute chart to go over how and why I got into this particular trade and how I set my take profit and stop loss as well. I noticed here that when I woke up, price action almost hit this level of support. But then I also saw where this next candlestick that happened at 4:45 a.m., it did break the level of support, but it closed high. It closed above the fib line. So for me, that wasn't a confirmation to get into this particular trade. So I was going to wait for another candle to confirm confirmation of passing this particular fib line of support. So when this candlestick, current candlestick that I got in on at 5 a.m. happened, I noticed that it had strong volume. And in my trading strategy, it has to have at least 7 pips of strong volume passing a level of support or resistance in order for me to get into the trade. So when I look in here, and I started from the time that the candlestick actually opened. So when the candlestick opened to where I enter the trade, it's 8 pips. So I entered to this trade knowing that I wanted to get into a sell because of the tweezer top that had formed coming off the uptrend. So my next level of support that I was going to set my take profit at would have been, so I got in here, my the next level of support where I was going to originally set my take profit would have been 9 pips. So then it would have been a 1-to-1 ratio. So going from there, it's better to see it if I use this side. So 9 pips would have been, looking at it horizontally, looks like it would have been right around where the candlestick that I got in on the trade opened. And so I looked at that like that's not giving myself enough breathing room in order to let this particular trade develop and reach my take profit. So I looked below to the next level of support and I saw this horizontal line here, which was another level support line that I had drawn out. I did see where, looking over here, this was a price action that it did hit. And so for me, knowing that it confirmed to me as to have this take profit set down at this next level of support because price action has hit this line in the past. I also go to my hourly chart and I can also see the same thing here. So to me, it was confirmation in seeing that it was a great take profit to have there at that level of support. So that would have been, or that was 24 pips. And so when I use that line from where I entered the trade and then going back up, I see that it was also 24 pips as well. And knowing that it was good to give myself breathing room because it was a high that it's reached recently, it also gave myself enough breathing room from a recent candlestick where that wick kind of hit this level of support or resistance at 1.31712. So I gave myself a little bit more breathing room to see that in order to have the price action come back down and hit that level of take profit. Now, the reason I'm using my MetaTrader 4 instead of screenshots is because when I took the screenshot, you couldn't see the stop loss line right here. So I want to give a clear picture of the stop loss line so that I can explain the reasons for getting into this trade, as well as why I set my take profits where I did, and the stop loss as well, because I wanted my trade to have enough room to breathe. Also here on this particular candlestick at 5:30 a.m., there was a high report that came out, and that was another reason why I wanted to give my candlestick room to breathe, because I knew that there was a high report coming out. And you know, with the high reports, it does sometimes create volatility in the market, and knowing that when this happens, sometimes the price tends to go the opposite direction, and then it could also come back down doing what the market was originally telling me to do. Also, because this pip was a 20 plus pips in the take profit and stop loss, which in my trading strategy also means that I keep a close eye on this particular trade, because if within this report coming out, if it did shoot up the opposite way, I would, and I saw that it wasn't taking a turn to come back down for my profit, then I would have exited out of the trade to stop the bleeding to save the loss that I was going to incur. So I kept an eye on this trade, and I saw that, you know, basically this wick would have closed me out of this trade if I would have kept the 9 pip stop loss. So it's another reason that it was a great trade, because it stopped here basically almost where the trade had a high on the candlestick that I opened, and then it made its way back down to this take profit. So I would say that I did trade like a girl on this particular trade. I followed my rules in allowing the, not just because I saw it pass this level of support here originally, I still felt like the confirmation with the candlestick closing high was not confirmation yet for me to get into this particular trade. But I did get in when the candlestick broke strong volume of 7 or more pips. That is part of my plan. And then also allowing this particular trade room to breathe, to reach its take profit, knowing that there was a report coming out as well. So yes, this was trading like a girl. Thank you.